So this is like Rich Piana 2.0. Um, I'm just gonna address a few things in his videos. I'm gonna watch a little bit of it and react to it. I have some stuff I want to go over here at the top, but yeah, let's go into some of the
The
stuff
most
here.
epic transformation you will ever witness in your entire lives. Day 9 of the cut. Day 9 of getting shredded as fuck. And wow, as you guys just saw, 292.2 this morning, which means that I'm pretty far from being a 300-pound bodybuilder at this point, which on one hand kind of leaves me with a dilemma now of what to do with the titles, but on the bright side, that means that I'm officially down 14.5 pounds since day 1, since we started the road to optimal aesthetics.
Yeah, so an interesting thing about this is he's really heavy right now, and the heavier you are, the easier it is to actually or the fat you'll actually lose weight at a faster rate than someone who is at a lower body fat. He's at a pretty high body fat right now.
In just 9 days, and just the past couple days, the weight has just been melting off. It's pretty crazy how fast it's come down. I'll go ahead and put on the screenshot of my daily weigh-ins so you guys can see what my weight has been like on a daily basis. The first few days, it was barely moving, even going up on some days. But then, like the last 3-4 days, it has just.
And I think why he is seeing these weird jumps, or why he's not really progressing that much as I think he should. I think he also doesn't know too much about dieting, so.
Just been dramatically dropping down, but that's to be expected on the first week of dieting for almost everybody, especially somebody starting out as heavy as me, just from the initial loss of water weight. If you aren't making a drastic drop in weight on the first week, then you're probably eating too much. But yeah, with that said, feeling amazing since dropping the weight every single day, feeling better and better, breathing is getting better, feeling less tired, just overall feeling great. For somebody starting a gut as extremely heavy as I got, this will be the period where I pretty much feel the best before all the cravings kick in, before I start going.
Yeah, but you also feel really bad because there are a lot of issues with what this guy's doing, right? Like I don't know if anyone's seen him posing, but he has a very serious GI gut. It's really bad, like a Palumbo gut going. He's also very heavy. His blood pressure is probably very, very high. He's probably eating way more than he should be. He's also probably eating a ton of, really bad foods in the sense of like nutrition, things that cause diabetes, heart disease, etc. There's a lot of factors here that or there are a lot of reasons why this dude probably feels so bad despite being like 20 something years old.
Going down to the other extreme of being extremely lean, and I start feeling like shit from that. But with that being said, I don't remember if I touched on this in the last video or not. As much as this is the phase of feeling the best, ironically, it's also the phase of looking the worst, as this is sort of like the awkward phase where you're both fat and flat. And I use those terms loosely because, of course, when I say fat and flat, I mean for a bodybuilder, I mean for my own standards. I'm still even on my fattest and flattest day. I'm gonna look 100 times better than little Jimmy in the comments who's correcting my form.
Okay, yeah. Yes, this is exactly where I wanted to get to. So, an interesting thing here is he said he keeps appealing to, or he keeps getting angry at people who tell him that his form is crap. And his response is, well, I'm bigger than you. So let's look at a sumo wrestler. Wait. What is an average weight? 148 kilos. 2 libs. 148. So 326. So a average sumo wrestler, 187 centimeters, is bigger than you. So does that mean you should start listening to them? Does that mean that they're certainly more qualified than you because they're so much bigger than you? Right? That isn't the size doesn't really necessarily dictate whether or not you know what you're talking about. I even left this comment where, I honestly don't think he'd be this size at all, even though like a lot of it is, body fat. I don't think he'd be anywhere near this size if he weren't on anything. If he weren't on anything, and especially looking at his training, his diet, everything, without this stuff, he would be like a lot smaller. I don't know how long he's been lifting for, um, and I don't know how old he is exactly, but he would be nowhere near this size. Sorry, dude.
Form and lateral raises, so just want to make that clear. But yeah, this is kind of like that weird little awkward phase where you don't look that crazy big anymore because you've lost your fullness. You don't just make people go holy shit walking around, but you haven't gotten to the point yet where you're so lean where you just take your shirt off and make people go holy shit. So you're kind of just like there awkwardly in the middle between those two extremes. But in order to get from one extreme to another, to get from big as fuck to shredded as fuck, this is what
See, he's copied Rich Piana so much. to where he's not only copying his mannerisms, but he's copying like the lifestyle, the diet, you know, whatever it takes, um, the stupid like stomach pose things that he does that Rich Piano used to do. I don't know if he's just copying him because he really admired him, or he's capitalizing on the idea that Rich Piano is gone now. I'm not entirely sure.
You guys know when I'm in prep, I record weekly physique updates before it was sent to a coach. Now it's for myself, just so I can see what changes I'm making and need to make on a weekly basis. So this update that I filmed was yesterday.
So this is also something that really pisses me off, is that anyone that starts taking any sort of anabolics and looks a little bit different from the average person, somehow they're a qualified coach, or they're a qualified personal trainer somehow. I don't know if this guy has any sort of certifications or anything like that. Not like that necessarily matters that much. It's just really funny when I see like just anyone that just looks a little bit different from the average person. Certainly they're more qualified than like the average person, which is kind of ridiculous to me.
On day 8, first thing in the morning, empty stomach, flat as all hell. Here is what I'm currently looking like.
He's got a really bad GI gut. Or GH gut, my bad.
I've actually pretty much completely revamped my diet since day 1 because I realized that I needed way more protein than I was having. First of all, right now to maintain my size, I probably need around 400 grams of protein.
Okay, so this is another thing I wanted to bring up. 400 grams of protein. That is not accurate at all, and I'm going to show you exactly why. So this was a huge meta-analysis, systematic review, meta-analysis on basically the amount of protein that is required for resistance training, and strength training as well. And this is for athletes. I don't think I consider him an athlete, but in general, that this is where we're going to base our protein needs off of, or at least their range. So 1.6 is the most optimal range, it seems like, for multiple different reasons. But if we convert this to grams per pound, it's actually equates to 0.76. So he says he's around 300 pounds. We times this by 0.76. He actually only needs 228 grams of protein. Now that is, quite a lot. Probably going to have to take some sort of protein supplements, and I already know he does. But he is definitely overshooting the protein need by a lot. And this is just what you'd expect from someone who, I guess, uses as much stuff as possible
per day. So that's exactly what I'm having right now.
And has zero background in this besides personal anecdotes.
Roughly about 400 grams of protein, 300 grams of carbs, and the fats are pretty low. Pretty much the only legit source of fats that I have every day is the 5 egg yolks and my 5 little eggs that I have in the morning. So I have like 40 grams of fats.
Eggs are so bad for you. But I think he's going to talk about where he is going to switch to a higher carb diet, which is, I guess, better. He's going to be eating less meat-based products, I guess.
Super low, but I needed those extra calories from the protein. That's more important right now. And instead of doing higher fat, lower carb like last time, I kind of want to experiment with higher carb, lower fat, and see if I can look fuller doing that. So without any further ado, here's how I started today's day 9 with my whole morning ritual with the morning vacuums, fasted cardio, and meal number 1. Right.
Yeah, these weird morning vacuums are something that Rich Piano was doing too. And I swear, like, I'm not sure if this guy just idolizes him, Rich Piano, which is fine, I guess. It's just, I don't know if he's just doing this just to capitalize on the fact that he's gone.
Last set, 15 seconds.
It's kind of weird.
When you drink them, and it's obviously right, I am. In the last week, of course, there were actually comments that, man, when you're in prep, this shit requires nerves of steel sometimes. Reading comments that say, why don't you just drink fruit juice or regular soda? Because it's healthier than diet soda. Like, listen, first of all, I'm not drinking this shit right here for health. If you want to go watch a healthy channel, go find it.
Fine. Fair enough. If you're watching this show at all for any other reason other than entertainment, then that's fine. But, if you're watching it for health advice or anything like that, I would warn you to not take any of this guy's advice, because he very much doesn't know what he's doing.
Nice vegan who does CrossFit, who jogs in the morning, lives a nice, healthy, balanced lifestyle. This is fucking bodybuilding. I'm drinking this to get through my diet any way that I can. The studies that were done on rats or whatever that you guys don't even know how to interpret were done in such quantities that even I would not be able to drink. So just shut the fuck up. Let me drink my soda. And with that said,
I'll look into that later. I should have done that before this, but I didn't. So another thing I want to address too is this really cool study that I found, where it talks about the amount of food that you need. So, or not necessarily the amount of food, but the idea of bulking versus cutting versus maintenance. This specifically focused on bulking, athletes who are bulking and athletes who are, I guess, staying at maintenance. And this is, I believe, the group that had bulked, and this is the group that didn't. And the fat mass difference is to be expected, but the actual lean body mass that was achieved with a higher rate of body fat that was accumulated, it didn't show much of any statistical significance. Yeah. So the whole bulking idea is just another really dumb bro science idea that is based on no data, or at least the data that it was possibly based on either was wrong or again doesn't exist.
enough talking. You don't make gains by talking. You make gains. Time to devour this fucking shit. Let's go. Alright, so that's what I have for my meal number 1, and we don't have any time to deviate, and it's time to jump straight into meal number 2. So like I told you guys, I've actually changed up a lot of my diet. One of the things that I changed up too is you guys saw how much solid food I was eating, all different meats. It was honestly simply too much to just sit and chew all that food all day.
So another problem I have here is this guy is going to be eating a lot of liquid meals. So the problem with this is we're seeing a lot of research that points to poor digestion and gut issues. So you actually really want to chew your food. You want the digestive enzymes in your mouth to really break down what you're eating before it reaches your digestive system. So this is going to cause him a lot of issues, especially down the line. Another thing I want to bring up too is the fact that someone like Jason Blaha, who has mentioned this multiple times, and I actually kind of agree with him, that this guy is definitely going to die soon. He's going to die at a very early age, and this could come from many different ways. He could have a heart failure from an overgrown heart. He could get a stroke. He could get severe gut. I mean, that's not going to kill him, but I definitely think he's going to have some severe gut issues. There's a lot of things that can happen where this guy will probably most likely die very, very soon.
I was literally spending hours eating to the point where I was getting exhausted. I didn't have time to do other shit. So right now, 4 of my meals are basically liquid meals. I'm having 2 protein shakes and I'm having
And that
2
is
liquid
just
meals.
so bad. And again, his obsession with protein, I don't know if he's just doing this for the video or if he actually thinks that he needs 400 grams of protein, which is really stupid. And again, I don't know where he's getting this number from.
The correct way to do it isn't to just scoop it out. And there's a scoop. Oh, there's 2 scoops. So I'm having 2 scoops.
Let's just move on to his training.
So if I'm having 3 scoops of protein at the gym.
So another criticism I have of this guy is he likes to do a lot of accessory work. He likes to do a lot of high intensity, or he likes to do a lot of reps. And you have to do that you can't do a bunch of high reps with really, really heavy weight, at least in terms of what you can lift. You have to do these like sets till failure, you have to do pretty lightweight. So I actually did a a presentation on the squat versus the leg press. This is an example. I had to do this for my kinesiology class, and I just wanted to bring some things to the attention of like accessory work or machines or something or anything like that versus something that is like a compound lift or something that's like a barbell kind of exercise. I wish I had. I mean, I could look these up, but I kind of labeled the conclusions and the necessary information here, just for the sake of the presentation. So I found that the squat in a lot of studies, through EMG studies, showed that the squat had more muscle development. It had a higher impact on uh, your hormones. It did increase cortisol a little bit, which I guess is just to be expected. But it increased the growth hormone release and testosterone release. And it would actually showed to be very safe for your knee if done correctly. So the injury idea is kind of been blown out of proportion. So again, the main point main criticism that I have of this guy is a lot of the bro stuff he does, and one of them is, of course, doing a lot of accessory exercises, all these things that are based on pure anecdotes, no actual scientific backing, and if it is, it's been clearly debunked. So yeah, we'll just continue. Let's fast forward.
After the workout pretty fast today, was just going boom, boom, boom. Again, my breathing, my stamina is getting so much better now that I'm going down in weight.
It's fantastic that he's getting better, though. I guess when he's dropping all the weight, I wish he would jump off the stuff to save whatever life he has left.
I'm able to get through the sets faster, so even threw some calves in at the end, as you guys saw. Couldn't be happy with the workout itself. Of course, was feeling fucking flat as a fucking pancake, but I just wanted the material drive. Different people have different preferences. And then just in case of an emergency, always got to be stocked up. Got some soda over here. Got some...
Jesus Christ. Alright, I think I'm done watching the video, so I just want to, if he watches this or if anyone is curious about, or I know he's probably said this multiple times in his comment section where he talks about how steroids don't really help that much, or the actual benefits that you see to them, or the advantage that you'd have over someone who is natural. He thinks it's blown out of proportion, and I think he should look at literally any studies on steroids and their benefits, and they should listen to people who have some backgrounds or have some background in strength training and some anecdotes or people like, I guess, that look more into the research, some sort of expert in this field, for some sort of guidance, because this guy, John Meadows, I was watching this interview a while back, and if you go to this section here, where was it? Oh, right here. So at 30 minutes 35, John Meadows kind of talks about how much of a huge advantage there is for people who are enhanced versus naturally enhanced, versus someone who is natural. Another person to really look towards for advice is Greg Nuckols. This guy really knows what he's talking about. And I guess another person you can look at is like Athlete X, for, I guess, like injury prevention and things like that. I think Greg Nuckols is definitely the more qualified person with strength training specifically, though. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this guy does have an online coaching thing, and of course he's just like every other person who is on some sort of anabolics or looks a little bit different from the standard person walking around. They seem to always have the idea that they're now a fitness expert. And what's really funny is these people, Greg Nuckols, John Meadows, Athlete X, these are all people that give out free advice, right? These are people that give free advice all the time. There are plenty of programs, there are plenty of meal prep programs. There's one that Scooby has that I could probably link if anyone's interested on for meal programs. There's so much free information out there that I just can't imagine why someone would pay someone uh, who just goes on a whim and a lot of anecdotal evidence to give them any sort of advice. Like, I feel like this guy is very similar to Brittany Dawn. If something actually were to happen, if he had to go outside of his cookie cutter or his own anecdotes, he'd be completely lost, right? Um, so I do hope this guy at some point stops taking, or at least drops his dosage down by a lot and whatever the hell he's taking, just to save his life. So I guess that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over. Yeah. So I hope this was somewhat enjoyable or informative, and that's it.